Welcome to Biozoology Chapter 1, The Living World. This is a pie diagram showing the various types of organisms that are living in the world. Insects are enormous and protozoans, crustaceans, mollusks, plants, chordates, all these are living along with us in this world. This is a comparative study of the diversity in the world by various scientists. If we go back to the history, each and every scientist had contributed in the classification of the biodiversity, and they have defined the living biodiversity in various ways. It is A.G. Tansley who said ecosystem is community of living organism along with the non-living community. Biodiversity means the presence of large number of species in a particular ecosystem. The term biodiversity was coined by Walter Rowe. When large number of species are occupying a particular place, then comes the question of learning them as a one mass is impossible. So there exists the principle of classification. So we classify the organism on the basis of their similarities, and this study is what is called taxonomy. It is Augustine Pyramus de Candolle coined the term taxonomy. Aristotle has contributed a lot of things towards the classification, so he is called father of taxonomy. So till Carolus Linnaeus, the classification was not in a systematic way. The actual systematic method of classification was proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, so he is called father of modern taxonomy. The basis of taxonomy, it lies on identification, then characterization, nomenclature, and then classification. What is the need for classification? As I told you already, to understand the relationship between organisms, to know variation among species, to understand the evolution of species, to create a phylogenetic tree among the organism, to easily study about the organism. For all these purposes, we need to classify the organism. Biosystematics. First we studied what is taxonomy and what are the basics. Now, as advancement of science goes on with the discovery of microscope and high power, high resolution electro microscope, etc., made scientists to do an advanced taxonomy. So the basics of advanced taxonomy are identification, characterization, and studying evolutionary history. That is, this commencement of genetics helps the people to analyze the chromosomal basis and to study the evolutionary history, which animal would have born first and from which the second generation has come, like that. Studying interrelationship between species, naming them, classification, preserving them, then documenting the activities carried out in a systematic manner. If we go back to history, the classification was done in a what to say, in a very rough manner. See here, first of all, classification was made on beneficial animals and harmful animals. Like that, living area, that is based on the living area. Whether they are living along with the people, then it is called domestic. If they are living in forest, wild animal. In that way, very rough classification was done during the past. This is a chart which clearly shows how in the period of Aristotle he classified the living organism, and he wrote how he has classified in his book called Historia Animalium. So the living organism, he classified them into two, plants and animals, and animals are further classified into terrestrial, aerial, and aquatic according to the living area. Animals are of two types, Enaima and Anema. After Aristotle, it is Theophrastus. He is a Greek botanist. He is a student of Aristotle. He performed a classification on plants, so he is called father of botany. He is a naturalist. He is an English naturalist. He coined the term species, and he wrote in his book Methodus Plantarum Nova about 18,000 plant species. He also aimed to classify animals. A Swedish botanist and is the father of modern taxonomy. And he is also got a lot of things to his credits. He found the modern systematics, and moreover, he is the founder of binomial nomenclature. So taxonomy can be classified into various types. Then one is numerical taxonomy. It evolves from the taxonomy only, and it evaluates the resemblance and differences through statistical method using computer analysis to find out the degree of relationship among individuals. See, when you compare two or three individuals, if they have one similarity, you will give a quantitative number. If they have one similar character, 5 credits. If they have 2, 10 credit. Like that, some numerical number is assigned to each character. And as the number of characters increases, then all of them with higher numerical value are put in a single class. This type of a classification is called numerical taxonomy. Here we follow a evolutionary basis, phylogenetic system of classification, where we see the ancestral species from where all the downline has come up. So all those who have originated from a common ancestor are grouped into a particular class. This type of classification is called cladistic, and the evolutionary relationship can be established in the form of a tree called phylogenetic tree or cladogram, and it was first introduced by Ernst Haeckel. Classification of organisms starts, and different scientists, they try to classify the organism in a different method. Carolus Linnaeus, his classification was called two kingdom classification, followed by Ernst Haeckel, who classified into three kingdom. Herbert F. Copeland classified four kingdom, and R. H. Whitaker classified the organisms into five kingdom, and Carolus Woese et al. They classified it into six kingdom, and Cavalier Smith classified into seven kingdom classification. These are the various types of classification. This is a comparative chart showing various types of classification. There is in two kingdom, the whole living organisms are classified into only two, a plant kingdom and animal kingdom. In the three kingdom classification, in addition to the plant and animal, the very lower organisms with single cell and other things are put into a separate group called protist. Then in the four kingdom, in the protist itself, they made one more classification that is called Monera. In five kingdom, from plant, all those without pigments have been separated from the plant kingdom, and they got a separate category called the fungi. So thus in five kingdom we have Monera, protist, then fungi, plant and animal. In sixth kingdom, Monera has been divided into two categories: bacteria, archaea, then all the other protist, fungi, plant, animal. In seven kingdom, again the bacteria is divided into eubacteria, archaea, protist, then chromista, fungi, plant and animal. And in the three domain kingdom, where they divided the whole thing into bacteria, archaea, eukarya. So all plant, animal, fungi, everything they grouped into eukarya. Each one is called as a domain here, not as a class. The three-domain classification of Carlos Ouzes in 1977, it is based on the single-stranded ribosomal RNA gene. So according to the differences in that particular RNA, the animals have been classified. So he used the domain which is considered as higher than the kingdom. So first we classified the living organisms into plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Actually, to speak, these domains are little more higher than these kingdoms. So it's a wide group. The three domains are bacteria, then archaea and eukarya. In under eukarya comes all the animals, fungi, plants, etc. Let us see the domain 1 bacteria. The main characters of the organism under bacteria, they were all prokaryotes. They don't have, prokaryotes means what? They don't have proper cellular organization. No nuclear thing, nucleus doesn't have a nuclear wall, no nucleus like this. They don't have proper cellular organization. They are prokaryotes, and that is the definition, explanation of the prokaryotes is given there. If their cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, normally in higher animal it is made up of cellulose, but here it is made of peptidoglycan, and most of them are decomposers. Very few are photosynthesizer. Example for photosynthesizers are cyanobacteria. Eukarya, they are called eukaryotes. Eukaryotes means they will have well-developed nucleus. They have histone, protein in the chromosome. They possess all the cell organelles, and the ribosome is of ATS type. Eukaryotic organisms are further grouped into Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia. Studied in botany, the taxonomical hierarchy, arrangement of organism into various categories in a successive levels, either in increasing or decreasing order from kingdom to species, or we can say vice versa, from species to kingdom. Species, already we studied in botany, the same thing is here. It refers to a group of organisms with similar morphological and physiological characters arising from a common ancestor, and they have a ability to interbreed to produce their offspring. The term was coined by John Ray, and Carlos Linnaeus defined the species as the basic unit of classification, and Charles Darwin explained how species have been evolved during natural selection. Representation of a species. Felis domestica, the domestic cat. They all have similar characters, so they are belonging to the species domestica. Species having similar characters are grouped as one genus. You see in this picture the domestic cat, sand cat, wild cat. All are looking like cat only. They have many similar characters. So all the Felis, they are all grouped into the genus called Felis. But their species are different. One is domestica, one is margarita, and one is silvestris. You may feel what are the characters they are having in similar: presence of whiskers, 30 teeth, large curved canine teeth, curved and protracted claws, large ears, then mostly nocturnal habit, coming out in the night. See what is the next higher group? It is called order. In this next higher group, we can see that many families with similar characters. So the Felidae family is closely related to the Canidae family, where you can see the Canis lupus, that is the fox and other animals of the forest. So these two families, since they are having many similar characters, are grouped into an order called Carnivora. See, the order Carnivora has some similarity with this next order Primata. Some body is covered with fur, certain such characters. So covered with body hair, giving birth to young ones. These are certain similarities found between these orders. So these two orders are related and hence is grouped as a class. So now taking into consideration various classes. The various classes in one way or the other, they are related. The point is that all these classes what are mentioned here has commonly have the backbone. So they are called chordates. The phylum Chordata. So Pisces, amphibian, reptiles, aves, mammalia, all this has a backbone. So they are grouped into a common phylum, the Chordata. Biggest group, that is the kingdom. So starting from the unicellular animal, that is Porifera, then if you move on, you can come to the chordates. They are the higher animal. All these are animals. So they are grouped into the kingdom Animalia. Now let us study the binomial nomenclature, which you have already studied in botany. Naming of an organism with two words is called binomial nomenclature. In the two word, the first word is a genus, second word is a species, and this is proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, and it is a universally accepted naming system. We already studied about the ICBN in botany. Here ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Here there is this tiger. Its zoological name is Panthera tigris. In Panthera tigris, the first word Panthera is genus name, tigris is the species name. Now in your book you are learning one more classification, that is a naming pattern, that is trinomial nomenclature. It is developed recently by Huxley and Strickland. The system naming with three names: generic name, species name and subspecies name. So it is actually an extension of the binomial system when the members of the species have large variation. When we group two, we said the basic unit is species. Even among the species, if there is so many similarities and dissimilarities, again you can group the species into subspecies. In such cases, we use the trinomial nomenclature. Example, Corvus splendens. Here the two splendens refers one as the species, another one as subspecies name. In botany, there are a lot of taxonomical aids which help us to get knowledge about each organism so that we can group them into different categories. Same way here also we have museums, zoological parks, marine parks, etc., which help us to classify the organism. And we also have printed tools, books, magazines, etc., for us to know more about classification. I already told, in this modern world we have neo-taxonomical tools based on electron microscopic images, then ethology of taxonomic tools involving the behavior of organism, and e-taxonomic resources like INOTAXA, INOTAXA, which contains the digital images and description of species.